So that every summer we meet for a trip.
Vacation has officially begun on Netflix.
To best enjoy your trip, we suggest the following itinerary.
I say we just wing it.
Wing it.
See where the wind takes us.
From best-selling author Emily Henry
Are you guys like a thing?
Oh, no,
we're
we're
just
just friends. Platonic travel companions.
comes your next favorite rom-com.
Who wants to go skinny dipping? Alex says.
Vacation, Alex!
I love it when you get weird.
People We Meet on Vacation, now playing on Netflix. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13.
And then the final thing that I am leaving behind is any program, trainer, professional, individual message that lacks compassion, empathy, and understanding. If your messaging to women about fitness is no excuses, or you're just being weak, you just need to do it, or everybody can wake up at 5 a.m., it's just a matter of discipline. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, or you just need to work harder. If your message is anything like that, I left you behind a long time ago. I'm Jessica Valant. I'm a physical therapist, women's health expert, and Pilates teacher, and my goal is to help all women feel strong, safe, and secure in their bodies. In this podcast, I'll share expert advice, facts, amazing guests, stories, compassion, and hope to help you meet your body in all seasons of life. Hi, and welcome back to Meet Your Body. We are talking today about fitness and wellness trends that I am not falling for. And this could also be called fitness and wellness trends that I am not subscribing to, or that I am not going to hold on to in the new year. It falls under all of those categories. And for each one that I touch on, I will tell you why. And I want you to keep in mind, just because this is my choice not to really subscribe to these things, it doesn't mean it will necessarily be right for you. We are all on different journeys, and many of these things that I talk about might have a time and a place. They might be something that you hear and you think, oh, but I've heard such great things about that. Or, oh, but my neighbor is doing that and told me I should try it. Yes, we all have kind of different journeys and different places that we are on that journey. So it might be something that you do want to try. But when it comes to trends, I have been in this industry for 25 years, both as a physical therapist, as a Pilates teacher, owning my own in-person studios, working in hospitals, all the way now to working online, having online workouts on YouTube, having social media be a part of what I have to do for work. I have kind of heard it all when it comes to trends and what's really popular. And it's amazing how things come in with a bang and then they can leave just as quickly versus some things come and they stick around for a while. There are trends that happen that we want to stick around for a while. So right now, I would say one of the biggest things that I saw happen through 2025 and even starting in the few years before that is this trend towards more information and more communication when it comes to women's health, especially women as we're aging. So perimenopausal health, menopausal health. That's an amazing trend. That is one that I hope stays, and I think it will. I think it's going from kind of a trend to, oh, this is important, right? Like this is a huge industry, and this is an entire demographic that's been left behind for a really long time. So thank goodness we have voices now, we have information, we have people on Capitol Hill now focusing on advocacy around women's health. There's so much good stuff happening. So you will have trends like that come in that we want to stay. But what happens there, so when we have a big, large growth in revenue when it comes to health and wellness, a big category like that, what will happen is small trends happen within it. Some of them are very respectable. Some of them work really well. Some of them come in and simply take advantage of the fact that there is a demographic now willing to spend money on being healthy. And so I like to parse through these trends and take them with a grain of salt. I try many of them myself. I want to be that person who can come to you with both the science behind it and the personal experience to say, yeah, I've tried this. It worked. It didn't work. Those kind of things. So I thought it would be kind of fun and then hopefully also useful to you for me to address some of these trends in the health and the wellness world that I am, again, either leaving behind or simply not subscribing to. And these are in no particular order. All right, so let's get started. So, number one, and again, this isn't in priority order. I just am going to list them as I kind of am thinking of them as we're going along. So, the first one I want to talk about is one that actually kind of is almost an umbrella over many of these things that I'm going to talk about and why I am going to be leaving them behind. So again, not in any particular order here, except for the fact that this first one covers many of these. And that is, I am leaving behind anything that claims to be a one size fits all plan. And I have always been this way throughout my entire career as a PT. I have really kind of gone against the grain when it comes to one size fits all plans. I am all about the nuance and all about the individuality because that is what makes things successful for the individual. We have to take into account that person's needs, their goals, their health history, their socioeconomic status, their work status, whether they have time to do the things we're going to tell them to do, whether they're at home or out in the world working, where they live, all of those things. Like we have to take it all into account. And so anything that is marketed to me as one size fits all, and then on top of that, like in addition to it, they're saying not only does this one thing work for everyone, but also these are the exact results I promise that you'll get. Like those two things combined, I leave behind. I am never going to probably listen to those two things combined because, again, it doesn't take into account nuance and individuality. And then it also makes promises that are very hard to deliver on because you aren't taking into account that nuance. And so, from a marketing perspective, what it does is it draws people in with promises and then it doesn't deliver. And so it ends up leading to fear and shame and a feeling of failure around for so many people who try those programs and don't get the results that they were promised. So I will always leave behind and encourage people to leave behind any of those programs, trainers, any professional who is out there saying their program is the absolute only thing that works, or you only do it this way and it works for every single person. And I absolutely promise these are the results that you'll have. Like those three things combined, I'm going to leave those behind. So some of the things now, I'm going to tell you additional things on my list kind of go back to that idea a little bit, that there's just not enough nuance and not enough individuality behind them. So that's number one. Number two, intermittent fasting. Now, I'm going to give a big disclaimer to this that I have done all the research and I've looked into all the research around intermittent fasting. There is a population, like a small demographic, who can definitely benefit from specific intermittent fasting. And I am talking about the intermittent fasting that is up to that 16-hour fasting window and an 8-hour eating window. So a very large fasting window and a very short eating window. So that is what I am talking about when it comes to this specific type of intermittent fasting. I am personally leaving it behind because, again, it doesn't take into account the nuance and the individuality of it. That one, I know for a fact it does not work for me and my body. I need fuel more than an 8-hour window. Personally, I can't get my workouts in. I don't function cognitively. I can't function. It doesn't work for me to enjoy food and enjoy food with my family. All of those things combined. Also, again, from a science standpoint, there isn't a very big population that I would recommend that kind of intermittent fasting for. Would it work short term for some people to reach their weight loss goals? Yes. Yes, it would. Also, is it sustainable long term? The research shows us not often. Okay, not very often is it sustainable. Also, when it comes to a fasting window, I do support the idea of a fasting window, meaning cutting off your eating at a certain time at night and letting your digestive tract rest and recover throughout the night to the next morning. So I more would subscribe to the idea of, hey, let's look at your eating habits individually and see if maybe you're eating really late at night out of habit, out of not being able to sleep, out of not eating enough during the day. Like, what are the reasons you're eating late at night? Is it then affecting your sleep? What are you eating? Are you eating at a big sugar meal before you go to bed? So hopefully you kind of hear me saying it's about the individual. And there are times that absolutely cutting off eating at night by a certain hour is going to be beneficial. And I do that automatically. So we tend to eat 6:30, give or take. So I'm generally done eating at 7 to 7:30 p.m. And then I don't eat again till, I don't know, 8:30, 9 a.m. the next morning because I'm getting the kids ready, getting them out the door. I drive them to school, and then I eat typically in the car. If I'm the driver, I'll eat in the car while I work right after I drop them off to school. And that, when you look at it, like that is actually a fasting window, right? Like I'm not eating for 12 to 14 hours. I'm not eating. I'm just drinking water, and then I'll have my coffee in the morning. And that works really well for me. I do sleep better than if I'm eating at 9:30 p.m. I do not sleep well. I can feel my digestive system not doing well. I get bloated, all of those things. So I'm not saying that having a fasting window is bad. I'm saying that when we put the rules on ourselves for a very large fasting window up to 16 hours, and when we put the rules on ourselves of intermittent fasting and I'm only going to let myself eat these hours, that actually can have detrimental effects. And I know for me it would. So I do well with that kind of shorter fasting window. And I don't even think of it that way. It's not a rule that I have for myself. It's just that after probably 5 years now of kind of being in that habit, I know I feel better. I know it works best for me. So I am leaving behind the idea of any kind of pressure to do intermittent fasting, but I'm holding on to the fasting window that I follow naturally from about 7:30 at night till about 9 a.m. the next morning, because that works really well for me and my body. Another thing I'm leaving behind is the idea that more supplements are always better. And this has been an interesting one for me because I have been a big fan and proponent of supplements for years. I mean, for 2 decades at least. When I first started learning a lot about the supplement industry, how so many things on the shelves aren't what they say they are, aren't giving it to us in a way that gets delivered to our cells. Like there's a lot when it comes to the supplement industry and supplements as a whole. And I also learned how beneficial they are, and they have helped me a lot personally by finding a really high quality one, researching companies, those kind of things. So that's been a part of my life for a long time. And we have like drawers and cabinets full of different supplements. And then I found a few years ago, I started feeling a teeny bit stressed about it because I was just kind of on all the basics for a really long time, and I felt really good about it. And now, as an aging woman, perimenopause, hormones, all those things, you could have a cabinet full of 100 supplements. And I see influencers and people who I really have a lot of respect for, like showing pictures of their daily supplement routine, and it's a lot. And I found myself feeling that I should be taking more. I'm like, gosh, more must be better. I need to be taking more. And then I like kind of started diving into all the things I thought I should, in air quotes, be taking, and when I should take them: morning, night, empty stomach, full stomach, and then learning, oh, but you have to take those two together for them to be soluble and for you to be able to digest it. And then you need to take this 30 minutes before food. And I was doing it all, and I can't say that I felt any different. I just felt kind of stressed about it all. And really then, when I sat back and when I actually in person, talked to a few professionals, again, who I have a lot of respect for, and some nutritionists who I have a lot of respect for, it really sat well with me. And I really heard from all of them. More isn't necessarily better. And yeah, there's some research that shows almost every supplement out there could help, but there's not a lot of definitive research that we know that all of them really do help. So it's really about finding what works for you, and do you feel a little bit of a difference when you use it? And that was really interesting to me. So it did change over the past year, I would say. My mindset for myself has changed a little bit, in that instead of taking a ton of things kind of haphazardly and just hoping they work, I've instead tried to be really consistent with a few things. And I have a podcast about that. Actually, I'll have the link below if you do want to know what I take. I have an entire podcast about that, about what I take very diligently and consistently, because there are a few things. But I really am kind of letting go of that pressure and stress that more is better when it comes to supplements. And again, I want to go back to say that I do believe in them. I believe many of them are beneficial. I also believe that there are ones that we probably need at certain times in life that will go on, that maybe we get levels and things worked out and then we can go off of them. But even those, it would be helpful if we had some blood work done, or hormones, and a complete hormone panel done, so that we specifically know what we're taking and why, and that maybe we can go off of it eventually. It's just a different kind of mindset for me. So that is one thing that I'm leaving behind, is that idea and pressure that more supplements are always better. Another thing I'm leaving behind is complicated skincare, a complicated skincare routine. So this also, I feel like, over 2 decades ago, I really learned the importance of skincare and parabens on our skin and all of that. So I got really committed to paraben-free skincare and working on getting some of those really bad chemicals and ingredients out of our skincare, both for myself and then once we had kids and for our family. So that's really important to me. That's a value I do have. And then also, yes, same idea. As an aging woman, our skin is so important, and I must need this 12-step program. And you guys, this was a few years ago. I remember at night taking diligent notes on my phone, writing down everything I needed in the morning and everything I needed at night. So we're talking vitamin C serum, salicylic acid, SPF, day moisturizer, night moisturizer, toner, all the serums. I might have said that already, but there's other serums in addition to vitamin C serums, the masks, all of it, because I did really like it. And I liked finding products that felt good on my skin. So I really got into this kind of all the products I need in the morning and all I need at night. And then a year and a half ago, my skin suddenly went crazy. My psoriasis, which I have a history of psoriasis, it flared up all over my face, which it had not happened in a long time. Flared up all over my face. I got kind of this perioral dermatitis around my mouth. Went to the dermatologist, but also realized I think I need to simplify my skincare. Like all the research I did said that I could be kind of destroying my skin barrier. And so I needed to simplify for a while to let it calm down. And so I went to bar soap, a really specific one. It's a black clay bar soap. I just went with that, very basic, as my soap. And then 2 very basic lotions, one at the morning, one at night, that again were specifically meant to help build that skin barrier back up again and be very gentle on your skin. I will add, I added estrogen. I have a face estrogen that I use because that helped my psoriasis so much. And that is all. And so for a year and a half, that is what I've used. And yes, I use SPF during the day. Okay, I do. That is important. But that is what I've used. And my skin has been so happy. The rash, the psoriasis, I've been able to keep at bay. It's all gone away. And then I use red light as well. And I think that just helps in general. But there are times I want to go back to that really fancy skincare routine. And that too, I feel pressure sometimes just from advertisements. I need vitamin C serum. I need this. But I tell you, when I try to get on a big routine, my skin just kind of gets upset again. So I'm not saying I won't add some more products. I'm already like experimenting maybe with an eye cream. I try ones here and there, but I definitely have let go of this idea that you have to have this 12-step skincare routine in the morning and at night for your skin to be happy or to help as you age. Because just this basic like bar soap and really thick moisturizing happy lotion has made my skin feel so good that I don't think I'll ever go back to the really complicated stuff. Again, that's what I say now, but that's what I've experienced over the past year and a half. All right, another one I'm leaving behind is all the protein enhanced foods and drinks. Okay. Yes, we need protein. We know this. And that's another trend that I think is going to stay with us because it should. It's so good that we are promoting, women particularly, eating more protein to feed our muscles. Super important, okay? I want us to stick with that. But like any good trend, we tend to take it and run with it. And all the marketers and all the messaging and everything now, it's like more protein, more protein. So we're putting it in everything. So the one that makes me laugh right now is the protein sparkling water. I've seen these cans with, they're advertising 40 grams of protein in sparkling water. I personally am not going to be doing that. And there's a few reasons. One is, again, it can just be overwhelming, all the things with all the protein, when really I'm like, I just need water. It doesn't have to have protein in it necessarily. But some of it also is that not all of that protein is actually available to help our muscles. It depends on what form of protein it is. But you need the amino acids in protein to actually feed your muscles. That's what we need. And in some of these protein sources, the amino acids aren't there. So they aren't actually feeding your muscles in the way you'd want. It also doesn't make us full. And so you have to look at that balance of, okay, yes, you're having 40 grams of protein, but if you are still so hungry afterwards, what's the balance there? Like what are your actual eating habits look like? So I do think there can be benefits absolutely to protein shakes. I mean, we have a fridge with quite a few protein shakes here at our house because there are times that you're running out the door and you need that extra boost. And I think they can be really helpful in that way. I also, for myself, am leaving behind the idea of depending on them because I know I feel better when I sit down, when I chew my food, when I'm present with my food, when I actually eat a whole foods protein source, like organic meat that I've cooked, or beans, or tofu. I feel better when I'm eating that. So I'm just leaving behind that kind of, it's almost, to be honest, for me, it almost feels like a hustle culture kind of thing. All of these marketing images out there of all the protein enhanced foods. I'm just leaving that behind a little bit and trying to lean more into how can I get the protein I need while also doing all the things we talk about in this podcast, nourishing my nervous system, feeding my muscles, being present while I eat, being with the people I love, like that. I'm leaning into that because that's important for me from a nervous system standpoint. I will use the protein enhanced shakes and those kind of things as a needed piece to fill the gaps if I'm in that place in life. Again, just as a convenience. But I'm leaving behind the pressure and the idea that they would be a daily part of my routine and fill my protein needs. That needs to come from whole foods. And now a quick word from our sponsor who helps this podcast happen. I have been interested in skincare for decades at this point, and as I've mentioned already today, I have tried all the serums and toners and tonics, and I thought I was helping myself out. It wasn't until perimenopause hit and my skin changed that I realized a simple routine with effective products may be better than a 10-step program with all the trendy ingredients. Enter OneSkin. OneSkin stands out in the skincare space due to its science-first approach to aging. It delivers hydration and strengthens the skin barrier, which I've realized is vital to my own skin being happy. Every formula is certified safe for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested, free from over 1,500 irritating ingredients, and awarded the National Eczema Association Seal of Acceptance. With skin that's very prone to psoriasis flare-ups, this has been key for me. Born from over 10 years of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the cells that cause the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. And for a limited time, OneSkin is making it even easier to stay consistent with 15% off when you use code MEETYOURBODY at oneskin.co/meetyourbody. That's 15% off with code MEETYOURBODY. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. All right, the next thing that I am leaving behind when it comes to wellness trends is more devices and more wearable tech. So this has been a trend for quite a few years now, and in some ways, it doesn't show an end. I mean, we are just being shown and offered even more, truly amazing tech when it comes to tracking our health. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think it's actually really valuable for many people out there. I mean, it can be so helpful to know things like how many steps you've taken in a day, what your heart rate is, what your blood sugar levels are, what foods you eat that spike your blood sugar, your sleep scores, all of those things. So we're talking fitness tracker watches, and we're talking blood sugar monitors, just to check what spikes your glycemic index, and we're talking Oura rings and all of those things. So those are all kind of the wearable tech and devices that can help. And I think, again, that there's a really big benefit to many of those. I also think that they can lead us to a place of relying on the data as opposed to listening to what our body is telling us or what we need. And for me, even, and you can probably see if you're watching this, because we put these videos on YouTube, we have a YouTube podcast channel. So if you're watching this, you'll see my watch is an Apple Watch, and I've had it for years. And I do check my steps on it. Every day. I think every day I check my steps to see where I'm at. That was really helpful at the beginning when I really had no idea how many steps I was getting on any given day. It has helped me become aware of getting steps in the spaces in between, making sure I park farther away from the store so I get my walking in. It has been helpful in that way. Also, I have seen a really interesting side effect, which is I feel sometimes that if I don't know how many steps I've taken, that they don't count. Like if I'm not wearing my watch and I go on a long walk, then I think, oh my gosh, did that walk even count? Because I don't know how many steps I took. Like that's a real phenomenon that I've noticed for myself. And I haven't even gotten into all the other amazing things. I mean, I have felt like I want to try one of the rings, like an Oura ring to check my sleep. But at the same time, I'll be honest, I know when I get a good night's sleep or when I don't. Like I wake up and I know it. I can tell you right away, no, I tossed and turned all night. I'm exhausted. Or you know what? I actually slept through the night and I didn't get up to pee. I don't need a ring to tell me that. I know. I know that. So for me, again, I am just simply leaving behind the pressure to know more and more and more data. I want to see how I feel. And then I want to focus because there is some data I do want. I'm having blood work this week because I am focused on one specific aspect of my health right now. It was my goal in the first few months of the new year. to get kind of a picture of this area of my health. And so part of it is having blood work, and that's what I'm doing. But it's kind of, like I said, a very specific step. I'm going to get the blood work. I'm going to meet with a professional. I'm going to have it analyzed. I'm going to come up with steps to take moving forward if needed, depending on what the blood work says. That feels like a doable step for me, as opposed to getting a ton of data and numbers from just more devices that I'm putting in front of my eyeballs and on my body when I am trying desperately to get away from my phone right now. So you're getting a look into my brain that it really has more to do with getting overwhelmed with health info that I might not be able to interpret, not listening to my body, and just being even more on my phone when that's the last thing I want to be right now. So for me, that is why I'm leaving it behind. Again, for you, it might be different. And there are times for health reasons that you need, or it's highly recommended that you have some kind of tracker. Again, blood sugar monitors, highly valuable and important. Heart rate monitors, highly valuable and important. So many of these things are. So it really just depends on you. And I wouldn't tell everyone to leave these behind. But for me, I will keep my watch because I need to know the time. And I do like knowing my steps. But I'm trying hard to separate my need for data from just simply enjoying my walks and getting steps sometimes. All right, the next one. You have to hear me out, okay? You have to hear me out. I'm leaving behind weighted vests. And I know that's going to sound funny because I have one. All right, so that's why you have to hear me out. And I have an entire podcast just on weighted vests. So I'll have the link for that below too. So that you can hear my entire thought process on weighted vests. I do have one, okay? And I think there's a time and a place for them. What I'm leaving behind, or what I would like to help everyone leave behind, is this idea that weighted vests replace anything else in your workout. I have been talking from the mountaintops about how the research does not show that weighted vests help with bone health or osteoporosis. It just doesn't. Okay? It doesn't. Maybe it will in the future, but it does not right now. So when people make that claim, that's what I want to leave behind. Like I want to kick it down the curb. You still need to lift weights. If you want to add a weighted vest to your walks for cardiovascular health or possible weight loss, those are the things that research shows that it might help with. All right? So by all means. Also knowing there's nuance here too. If you have pelvic floor issues, raising my hand, okay, me. If you have pelvic floor issues, you need to take that into account. A weighted vest isn't something you're going to have on all the time. If you have back pain and you haven't taken care of your back pain yet, a weighted vest isn't necessarily going to help. So there's so much nuance. So I am not leaving behind weighted vests for every single person forever and ever. I'm going to keep mine, and I might even still use it sometimes. But I want us all to remember that a weighted vest is completely separate from your weight training. You still need to lift weights 2 to 3 times a week, challenging weights to help with your bone health. All right. Next one, cycle syncing. I'm leaving this behind. And it's easy for me to leave this behind because I never actually did it. So it was left behind a long time ago. But I'm really ready for this trend to move along. And this also, I will leave you, I have so much info for you. I will leave you a link for this below too, where I talk specifically about cycle syncing, all about it. Here, I'll just give a quick overview. Also, okay, if we're talking about research, there's no research that shows that cycle syncing is going to be helpful to your workouts or that you need to do it. And what I have always kind of told people and what I'm constantly saying let's work on is listening to your body, right? Your body naturally will most likely tell you that you have a ton of energy around ovulation. So your workouts are probably going to feel awesome because you have a lot of energy. How do you feel when you start your period or right before? You feel tired, you feel achy, you feel not happy about things. You're not comfortable in your body. That's not going to be the time that you want really big workouts. That's going to be the time you probably want to be on your mat or want to be stretching more, doing something more gentle. That's the natural way we move through the month as women or through our 28-day cycle. So cycle syncing is simply telling you really to listen to your body and follow and do what feels good. I don't like it because it's telling people, okay, during that week when you're having your period, you shouldn't lift weights whatsoever. Well, not necessarily. There's no reason you can't. If it feels good, go for it. I mean, I'm not gonna not do it just because someone says I shouldn't when I'm on my period, when I have been doing that for 35 years longer. I've been on my period a long time. And I have a hysterectomy now, but I still cycle. And so it's still, hormones are still there. I'm still following my workout regimen and my workout program because it feels good to me, and that's what I do. And if there's a week that I feel really low energy, I will adjust for that because I respect my body and I'm going to see what she needs. And if there's a week I have a ton more energy, awesome. I'm going to add weights because that feels really good and that's really fun too. So you don't have to follow cycle syncing so much, but if you simply listen to your body, then you might find that you're following a program similar to that. But you do not need to stop hard workouts during the week of your period just because it's the week of your period. You don't have to do your hardest workouts the week of ovulation just because it's the week of ovulation. All right, you don't have to follow that cycle. All right, the next one I'm leaving behind is skipping the doctor or therapist altogether. Now, I have things to say about this too. I know it feels really easy to skip all those appointments and not do them, especially if you've ever been gaslit by your doctor, especially if you've been ignored by your doctor, and especially when there are programs out there telling you that they can do it online and you don't need to see anyone. I also think that can be really beneficial to use all the online resources. I am doing it also right now. I am going through some processes online to get some health information for myself before taking it to someone in person. Okay. I'm simply saying I can't completely skip seeing people in person or individually anymore. I've wanted to do that for a while. With my health history, sometimes that's what I want to do, just not walk into a doctor's office again. But it's really important, and especially as I age, I realize I want a few individuals personally on my team. And so that's all. That was just one that came to mind for myself, is remembering, use the resources online. They are so valuable, so helpful. I highly recommend resources online, especially if healthcare is not accessible to you in person. And also just leave some space open to finding some team members individually that you can go to for the resources you need. And then the final thing that I am leaving behind is any program, trainer, professional, individual message that lacks compassion, empathy, and understanding. If your messaging to women about fitness is no excuses, or you're just being weak, you just need to do it, or everybody can wake up at 5 a.m., it's just a matter of discipline, or everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, or everybody can lose weight after the age of 40, you just need to work harder. If your message is anything like that, I left you behind a long time ago. I have no space for that. I have no capacity for that. I have no patience for that in my own life and in the life of all of the amazing clients that I work with, every single person on my platform. If you ever visit a podcast, an Instagram post, an unlimited workout, a YouTube workout, I very much hope that you feel seen and heard, and that you know you aren't alone, both in your joys and your victories, and when things feel hard. And so personally, I just don't have it in me anymore, if I ever did, to really listen to those messages of defeat and of shame and of fear around our bodies and around wellness and fitness. That's the last place it should be. I'm not going to follow those fitness bros online who are telling women that we all have to be able to run a mile and do 10 pull-ups and 20 sit-ups to be healthy. I'm not listening to that. Until you've walked a little bit in my shoes, bro, with a prolapse and a hysterectomy, and until you've seen how much I can still squat and the babies that I've pushed out, I'm not going to listen to that message. And honestly, for those of you listening, you shouldn't either. You don't need to. There are so many other professionals out there cheering you on. So many out there saying, you know what? 1 push-up, amazing. Because I bet you couldn't do that 3 months ago and you can do 1 now. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, you're squatting 10 pounds? That's amazing. Congratulations. You should be so proud of yourself. You can't get up at 5 a.m.? Guess what? I can't either. Because again, as already mentioned, I probably got up to pee numerous times during the night. So I'm going to sleep then from 5 to 6 a.m. and then I'll work out at 10 a.m. Okay? That's the message I'm going to bring to you. So personally, I'm leaving behind anything that lacks compassion, empathy, and understanding right now. And so those are the things I'm leaving behind, moving forward. And would I bring any of them back into my life someday? I don't know. I think a good chance that most of them I won't, but I leave things open. We'll see. But those are the things that don't serve me right now. So that means I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to listen to my needs. And I'm going to move forward, focusing on the things that do work for me. So thank you so much for being here today, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening today. I would love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It means a lot to us, and it helps our content get out to more women who need it. You can find more of my resources at my website, jessicavalant.com, or find me on YouTube at Jessica Valant and Instagram at Jessica S. Valant.